This is part 2 of What If Naruto Was Rimurus Reincarnation. And thank you guys for all the support that you guys had gave on the last video. Honestly, I really do appreciate it. And let's get on with the new video. Again, don't expect the best audio, but that's all I really gotta say. And let's go. So I left off right before the bell test was about to start, and Kakashi was on the road of life. Now, let me give you a basic recap. Naruto was on the top of his class, right above Sasuke, and he was on a team with Lee, Hinata, and that's it. And his teacher is still the same. He still has Kakashi as his teacher. And that's about it. And we left off right before the bell test. And so Kakashi explains the rules of the bell test and explains how it's supposed to go. And so Naruto realized there were only two bells, but there was never only a 3-man team, and so we quickly realized that the bells weren't the only goal in the plan. So Naruto didn't exactly completely figure it out. Rimuru had a slight idea, and that was about it. So Lee and Naruto both started attacking Kakashi. Kakashi at first was only going easy on the two, expecting them not to be super strong. And so, because Lee and Naruto didn't look very strong, and Hinata had the Byakugan, which he was aware of. But he was only seeing Lee and Naruto fighting him, and he couldn't really tell if they were going easy or hard on them, because Lee, from what he could tell, he had weights on, and Naruto just seemed like he wasn't going all that serious. So Kakashi decided to put his guard up a little and started going a little more serious. And so Naruto had grabbed Kakashi by the wrist and twisted his arm. He didn't quite break it, but he almost sprained it. And then Lee came from behind him, punched him in the back, which sent Kakashi flying. And then Kakashi realized that these kids were around mid tuning level at the time. And so, as it kept going, Kakashi realized that, hey, he might actually have to go a little more serious and take these kids like they were actual shinobi, but not actually try to kill them, because he had told them to try to kill him, or at least come at him with murderous intent. And so they started so Naruto had brought out kunai and some shuriken and threw them at Kakashi. Kakashi obviously dodged, and Lee, knowing that he would either dodge or substitute, was waiting for him and got a punch in. Lee grabbed a bell, and, Kakashi was off balance. Hinata had struck his chakra point in his leg, and Naruto had grabbed the other bell. And so Kakashi told them that they passed, and had said the whole goal of this test was teamwork. And Naruto, already knowing that the actual goal wasn't actually just to get the bells, because there weren't teams of 3, knew that it was something, it wasn't just to get the bells. And so they were all passed. Kakashi did give them a little bit of shit for not including Hinata much, but other than that, Kakashi said they did basically perfectly, and borderline perfect. And so that's how the build test went. Now, this is around the time when they started doing their like D ranks and all that type of missions, right? They've been doing this for about, I'd say, like a month now, and Lee and Naruto were starting to get a little bored of them and asked, hey, yo, can we get a C rank mission for Kakashi? And he said, and then they said, you'd probably have to ask the Hokage, but yeah, sure. And so they went off and asked the Hokage, and yeah, it said, hey, can we get a C rank mission? And the Hokage said, yes, sure, I don't really care. It's up to you. And so what happened next was they'd gotten their mission, and drunk Tazuna came in the room saying, these are the people that are supposed to be my bodyguards. They don't look that strong. And he was drunk and he was just running his mouth. Naruto gave him a glare and just didn't give a fuck after. And Lee was just like, just gave him a confused look. And after that, he said, fine, I don't really care, I just need some bodyguards. And the next day, they all were lined up at the bridge, ready for their mission. So, they're slowly walking down the path, and Naruto and Kakashi both see a puddle. Just a weird puddle sitting there. Both of them knew that it hadn't rained the day before, so they knew that something was off. Kakashi knew that it was a genjutsu, and Naruto knew that something was off, knowing that something might end up attacking. He wasn't sure or if he should be suspicious, but then he looked at Kakashi having a slight guard up, and so he decided to put his up too. Lee, seeing that both of them had their guard up, just decided to do the same, thinking that something was about to happen. And truly enough, the two demon brothers had came out trying to kill the bridge builder. And Naruto had broken one of their arms and then cracked it in half. And then Lee had grabbed the other one by the throat and slammed him to the floor. And then they started torturing them until they gave them the information that they needed, explaining that it wasn't actually a C rank mission, getting it out of Tazuna and the demon brothers. After that, they killed the two demon brothers, realizing that they were going to attempt to attack again if they weren't careful. And after that, the bridge builder said he was sorry and said, please don't give up on the mission. We really need someone to help. And the Land of Waves is in a really bad spot right now. And so he basically tells him everything that happened and what happened. And Naruto and Kakashi both felt bad and just decided to do it. And then Lee just went along with it, and Hinata didn't really care. Alright, time skip to when they're about to get to Zabuza. They're walking down the path, and Naruto senses a little bit of bloodlust coming from behind them, and then he notices that there's a huge sword coming towards them, and he yells, "Everybody duck!" Everybody ducks, and surely enough, a huge sword comes flying at them and hits a tree. Zabuza shortly after had landed on the tree, saying, "So you're Kakashi Hatake. I had been waiting to test my skills against you, and hoping that I would be able to find a worthy opponent. And surely enough, it's Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja of the Sharingan." And so Kakashi and Zabuza start having a taijutsu bout. And Zabuza had the upper edge on Kakashi until Lee and Naruto started helping. They weren't really doing much other than just slowly just making Zabuza block occasionally and letting Kakashi get cuts on with his kunai. They were slowly but surely awakening the hell out of Zabuza to the point where he was on the ground, almost about to bleed out, until the Tracker Ninja Haku came in. And Naruto could sense that they were lying because Rimuru had been dealing with that type of stuff and teaching Naruto how to tell when people are lying. And he yelled, "Yeah, that's not a Tracker Ninja. That's an action. That's." And those Senbon, they didn't actually kill him. And so after that, Kakashi had gotten behind the quote-unquote Tracker Ninja and cut straight through the neck. Later on, when they actually got to the bridge, nothing had really happened other than a bunch of thugs just trying to stop them. All the thugs had been wiped out, and after that, the bridge got its name of the Great Naruto Bridge. Alright, so that's the end of the Zabuza arc. I'm not ending the episode here. I'm going to go a little farther and more in depth. Alright, so after that, they went back home to Konoha after staying like a night or two at the Land of Waves, just having a little party. After that, they went to the village and had let Lord Third know everything that had happened. After explaining that it wasn't an actual C rank mission, he asked if they wanted anything in return because it wasn't an actual C rank and it was like a B or A rank mission that shouldn't have been done by Genin and Jonin. And after that, letting the third Hokage know about what happened, they all went to their house, and Naruto, at this point, was still getting beat up by the villagers every fucking night. Every day he would come out with bruises or even cuts. But he had started to develop the healing potions that Rimuru had slowly taught Naruto how to brew. And so he had stopped having to deal with the pain. And now let me explain what I mean by how Rimuru had taught Naruto. Alright, so this was in the first season. Rimuru had basically brewed 100% potion that heals basically all of your life. Like you're completely backed up, completely fully, and it happens within seconds. And currently Naruto's the only person that knows about them. And Rimuru said, "Hey, you might actually want to start selling these because you can make decent profit off of them. Just don't tell anybody the recipe and you'll be fine." And Naruto said, "Hey, that actually might be a good idea, but it'd be better to keep them to myself. Maybe give them to my teammates if necessary." And Rimuru had agreed, thinking that they could use these against him. And so, after learning how to brew the 100% potions, after being brutally beat every night for the past couple of years or so, Naruto had finally gotten the courage to fight back and had taken out half of them until he was brought to the floor, beaten even, but a lot worse than he normally was because he decided to fight back. Naruto said, "Yeah, I'm quite strong enough, am I?" But this time it was Naruto had been stabbed a couple of times, and not in any vitals, but in his limbs, and it just put him in overall pain. Because, as I stated in the first part, knives are basically the only things that can really injure him. Knives, jutsu, swords, like that type of stuff can injure him. And yeah, so after that happening, Naruto had to deal with the pain for a couple of days because the 100% healing potion didn't completely work with cuts because he was a slime. And if you took too many, it could cause into drug overdoses because there are a couple of things that can be toxic if you take too many in a day. And after that, he realized that if he doesn't get stronger, he's gonna have to deal with this for a really long time. So Naruto had decided to move his house, like, partially outside of the Leaf Village. And the third Hokage was hesitant at first, but said fine, as long as no one else finds out about it. And so he did. He he ended up moving his house out a little bit outside the Leaf Village. And what I mean by moving, he just built a new one. And after that, he stopped having to deal with people beating him and just basically torturing him. And after that, they had been recommended for the tuning exams by Kakashi because they had actually done decently well on a B rank mission, and their team skills combined can definitely do quite a lot. Oh yeah, at this point in time, Sasuke will still have his Sharingan, like to Tomoe. Just gonna let you guys know real quick. Of course, his eyes aren't gonna evolve as quick, but they're still gonna evolve decently. If that makes sense. Alright. So after being recommended for the training exams, Naruto and Lee decided they're gonna start training together and training each other in the things that they didn't know as much in taijutsu. Naruto taught Lee his fighting style, and Lee taught Naruto his fighting style. And then they started slowly working on their speed and overall just like power, speed, stamina, and all that, and durability. After that, Naruto started to learn some more skills because he had a lot of skill points saved up from all the stuff that he'd been doing. And so he had gotten a couple new skills, which one of them would be called Future Sight. It basically allows you to see around 3 seconds into the future at all times, and if you upgrade the skill, it can get up to 10 seconds, which is kind of OP. Another skill that he learned was Fusion. Basically, it allows him, with whatever thing he's touching, with a bear, like say he's touching with bear skin, he can turn that whole entire limb into, like, stone and still be able to control that limb. And third would be him being able just to control how much slime portion comes out. Like, say he wants to just turn his arm into slime, he can do that. Like, he can control it, and the more he levels it up, the more he can control how the slime works. After that, this was the beginning of the tuning exams. I'm only going to cover the first lesson, and then the Forest of Death will be in the next part. So after going to the first part of the tuning exams, and at this point in time, Naruto's quite a bit smarter than he was in the original, which means he got most of the questions right, and he decided to stay for the 10th question, so did his teammates. And after that, he had Anko came in and had basically explained that their next test will be in the Forest of Death. And I'm not just gonna, like, do just the test, I'm gonna do it before the Forest of Death begins. And so everybody everybody that passed that test had went to the Forest of Death, outside the gates. And after doing that, they all were staring each other down. And Anko was explaining the rules of the Forest of Death. Killing is allowed, and everyone had to sign the waiver. After eyeing each other down, seeing how many people were left, Anko realized that there were a lot of people left, more than there normally was, and let the third Hokage know that they're probably gonna have to have a preliminary and should have it ready in advance. And that right there is where I'm gonna end this part. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later in the next part. Bye. And I'm sorry that this was such a long part compared to the last one. And I would like you guys to let me know if you prefer the longer parts or the shorter parts. It's all up to you guys. And with that being said, bye guys.